If you are in the process of migrating away from MediatR and you aren't sure how to replace the pipeline behaviors, you've come to the right video. In this video, I'll show you how to implement a middleware pattern as a solution for cross-cutting concerns inside of our CQRS application. If you watched any of my videos in the past, you know that I'm a big fan of MediatR and I use it in almost all of my projects. Now, one excellent feature that MediatR has is the pipeline behavior abstraction. So let me show you right away what you can do with this. You implement an IPipelineBehavior interface, which exposes a handle method, and it gives you a request handler delegate. Now this essentially represents the next handler in the chain that you want to invoke. And this is what a middleware pattern looks like, where you can chain additional pipeline behaviors to implement some cross-cutting concerns. In this example, I'm implementing a simple logging pipeline behavior with the generic arguments. I can also specify some generic constraints for these arguments, and then in the handle method, I can implement my logic. For example, I can log something before processing my request, execute the request handler delegate, and then proceed to write some additional logs based on the result of the request handler. Now, if we wanted to implement something like this with our custom implementation, it's going to require some additional work. So what I have in place right now is an IQueryHandler abstraction, which exposes a handle method and the respective iQuery interface, and then the same goes for my command handlers, where I have two interfaces which both expose a handle method. So how do I introduce something like a pipeline behavior on top of these abstractions? Well, we can use something like the Decorator pattern, or to be more precise, it's called the proxy pattern, but it's often demonstrated as a decorator, which is how I'm used to calling it as well. So let me add a class inside of the behaviors folder, which I'm going to call a logging decorator. Now, what I'm going to do is make this static, and I'm going to define an internal sealed class called the query handler, and it's going to be a nested type inside of my logging decorator. Now, I'm going to implement the IQueryHandler interface, and in order to do this, I need a generic argument, which is going to be my query type, and then my response type. And I'm going to specify both of these in the iQuery interface definition. Now, I also need the generic constraint that the query is an iQuery of the response. And then I need to implement the missing members, which is my handle method. And this is essentially where I want to introduce my cross-cutting concern. So let's copy exactly what I have here and paste it into the handle method. And then let's see how we're going to fix this. Now, I will remove the reference to MediatR because I don't want to use it. And then let's consider what we need to support this. So first of all, we need to inject some services. I'm using a logger, which is a generic iLogger interface that I can inject here. And I can specify my generic type here as tQuery, tResponse, and let's call this the logger. So now this should compile, but the problem we have is how do we invoke the next request handler in the chain? The way I'm going to solve this is by injecting an iQuery handler with the same generic arguments, and I'm going to call this the inner handler. And instead of saying await next, as we were doing in the pipeline behavior, I'm going to say inner handler handle and pass in the query and the cancellation token. Now notice that in this case, we're getting back a result of tResponse, which is exactly what we want, and then everything else can compile. I also need to replace tRequest here with the query, and now I can implement my decorator. Now the next question is, how do we wire this up with dependency injection so we don't have to complicate our API surface? I still want to be working with an iQuery handler inside of my API endpoints, and I don't want to even know that the logging decorator exists. So if we wanted to do something like this manually, it would end up being pretty complicated. For example, I can say services, add scoped, and then I can specify an IQueryHandler. And for example, I'll use the getToDo's query, which returns a list of to-do responses. So this is just my interface definition. Now, in order to configure this with my decorator, I have to reach out to the overload that gives me a service provider, and then I can say new IQueryHandler, and I'm essentially newing up a new instance of my logging decorator, and this has two additional arguments. The first one is going to be an IQueryHandler, which I already have in the dependency injection container. So I can say service provider get required service and pass in this argument. And then I need to pass in my iLogger. So I'll say get required service, and let me just jump back to my logging decorator and copy this definition. Now I don't have tQuery and tResponse available here, but I can copy what I have inside of my query handler definition, and then this should do it. Now there are two problems here. The way I implemented this is going to cause an infinite loop when resolving this from dependency injection, and your application is probably going to crash because I'm always resolving an IQueryHandler definition. And the second problem is having to write something like this for every query or command handler in your application is going to be terrible. So how can we solve this? Well, luckily, Scrutor has a very nice extension method that I can use called Decorate. And if I use the non-generic overload, I can specify type of IQueryHandler, and then I can provide my logging decorator. So let's say logging decorator query handler, and then Scrutor will be able to wire this up with dependency injection. So let me place a breakpoint here and another one here, and let's start the application. And I want to show you what happens inside of our dependency injection logic. So if I go ahead and scroll down to the end of the service collection, you will see that we have our query handler and command handler registrations, which was done in the previous step here. And now if I press continue, we're going to get a couple of more services where we are decorating the query handler implementations with our logging decorator. So these are going to be my query handler definitions with the decorator configured. So if we take a look at the bottom here, you can see some additional query handler definitions, and these are the ones that were added by our decorator. So I'm going to stop this because I noticed that I have a problem with my dependency injection code, and that is I should have referenced with scoped lifetime every time I added the respective services. Otherwise, they're going to have the transient lifetime, which is not what we want. So I'm going to start the application now, and we're going to place a breakpoint inside of our endpoint for fetching all of our to-dos. And then I'm going to send an API request, and this is going to land on the breakpoint inside of my endpoint. And if you take a look at the handler, you can notice that we're getting back an instance of the logging decorator query handler. So we're first going to execute our decorator, which is going to have the respective getToDo's query handler as the inner handler provided inside. So now I can step into the actual handler instance, but then I'm going to proceed to complete my decorator, which allows me to implement the middleware pattern. So I'll press continue, and we get the response back in the Swagger UI. And this demonstrates how we can implement a decorator for our query handlers. Now, what about our command handlers? Well, I have to follow the same pattern, which is introducing another type. Let's call this the command handler. And I just need to update a few additional arguments. So instead of specifying the IQueryHandler interface, I need to specify the ICommandHandler. This is going to become the command, and the handle method is going to have command inside. And this should also be an ICommand implementation of the response. And I think everything else should compile. So now to apply this with dependency injection, we just call services.Decorate, specify ICommandHandler here, and then the respective command handler inside of my logging decorator. However, we also have another overload for our command handler interface, or rather it's a different interface definition, and I'm going to call this the command base handler because there is no response argument, so I have to implement this in a different way. So this is going to be just an ICommand and an ICommandHandler, and then the handle method returns our result object. The same applies here, and now this should compile, and I can go ahead and apply this with my dependency injection logic. And here I have to specify my ICommandHandler with just one generic argument. So now I've implemented a decorator using Scrutor that's going to apply logging before and after executing my query or command handler. Now we also have some validation logic here, and essentially we would implement this in the same way. So let's see if I can quickly rewrite this. I'll implement a validation decorator, and inside of this static type, I want something identical to this, so I'll copy what I have here. Let's paste it here, and the handle method I'm going to leave empty for the time being, and then let's see what our generic arguments should be. So we want a set of validators instead of the logger, so I'm going to go ahead and inject that. The validator is going to be on our command type, and then we need to apply this logic here. So let's see if we can drop this into the handle method, and we have a couple of more missing methods, so I'm going to go ahead and grab those. Let's drop them into our type, and now I'm going to extract the validation decorator into its own file and fix the pipeline behavior. And now let's see how we are going to fix this. So we're going to pass in the command object to validate async. The argument here is going to be tcommand. Let's rename this to a command. This is also tcommand, and then this seems to be working. So this is just going to take my command object, create a validation context, and execute my validators, and in the end produce a list of validation failures if there are any. There's this helper method creating a validation error out of the validation failures, and this is a wrapper on my result type, so this is fine. And now let's tackle the handle method. So if we don't have any validation failures, we're just going to execute our inner handler. So I can say inner handler handle and pass in the command and the cancellation token. Otherwise, there's this logic here, which I had to introduce because the pipeline behavior doesn't give me a concrete way to know if I'm returning a generic result represented by this type or just a common result that doesn't wrap an object. Now, in my case, I can just take this piece of code here and go ahead and return that as my result. I'm going to go ahead and remove the casts, and that is because I can explicitly return a result of the response. One more thing I need to do is also apply this to my other ICommandHandler interface definition. So I'm just going to copy what I had previously. Let's get rid of this. I also need my validators instead of the logger, and then I'm just going to copy paste the same methods here and see if I can finish the implementation. So in this case, we're just returning a result failure and not a generic one, and I can still use the helper function that I have here. So in that case, because it's static, I can move it out to the outside context and not have to duplicate it twice. And I can also do the same with this method here. And if I were to make it static, then I can reference it. However, I need to pass in the validators. So this is going to be an IEnumerable of IValidator of the command. So let's add that as an additional argument. And of course, this has to be a generic method where I can specify the tcommand type, and then I should be able to use this from my two command handler decorators by passing in the validators object, and I can see I'm running into some namespace conflict. So let me see if I can fix this. And now this should properly reference the FluentValidation validation result. So these are now my decorators. And you can see that they're significantly simpler than what I had to do with a pipeline behavior because I'm working with a simpler abstraction. Now, in order to apply this to my command handlers, I just specify the validation decorator here and everything else remains the same. To show you that this actually works, let's start the application and let's go ahead and send a request to register a new user. And we're going to land on this breakpoint. And if I take a look at the handler, you can see that what we are getting is a validation decorator. And this is why the order in which you define your decorators is important. If I want to apply my logging decorator as the first decorator in the chain, I need to define it after the validation decorator. With MediatR, the request of the pipeline behaviors is in the order that you define them in. With the decorate method, we have to reverse this. So we're first decorating this with a validation decorator, and then we decorate the validation decorator with a logging decorator. I know this can be a lot to take in, but if I go ahead and resend the same request, and we land on our breakpoint, we first get our logging decorator. So now I can step inside, go ahead and step into the inner handler, and this time we land inside of our validation decorator, where we are going to get back 2 validation failures, so we can return a failure result directly, don't have to do any dependency injection magic, and I can also log this as an error and return to my endpoint, where I can return a bad request response and say that we ran into some validation failures. So this is how you can start introducing cross-cutting concerns using the decorator or the proxy pattern into our custom mediator implementation. Now there is one more thing that we were using from mediator that is still not working, and that is support for publishing our domain events using the publish subscribe support from mediator. And I'm going to tackle this in the next video. If you want to grab the source code that contains the complete implementation, go ahead and check out my free clean architecture template from the pinned comment right under this video. Also, take a look at my courses if you want to improve your software architecture skills, and until next time, stay awesome.